All right. So I watched The Last Breath and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. That makes me happy.
So where did the story come from?
Um, the this was actually the of all the films that I've made so far in my career, this is the first one where I didn't both write and direct it. So this was a project that came to me sort of have at least half formed. And when the producers came to me with the script and told me that they wanted to make a shark movie with 5 characters trapped inside a World War II battleship wreck with a shark. Immediately, this conjured up images and ideas in my head. So I was kind of hooked already from that initial pitch that the producers gave to me. And then I worked a little bit with Nick, the screenwriter, to sort of add a few little flavors, some ideas that I had, but essentially the plot of the script remained unchanged from when it came to me. And the reason they came to me, the producers, was because I'd made another underwater movie previously a few years ago called Breaking Surface. And that, I guess, worked quite well as a thriller. And they came to me, and I think we all thought about this as, of course, it's a shark movie, but it also has to work on a general thriller level. If you were to take away the shark, on some level, the movie should still work. And I think we have all of these sort of elements of the dwindling supply of oxygen, being lost in this maze of rusted steel. So there's a lot of other elements going on at the same time. And then when you add the shark to the mix, hopefully that makes it just even more scary and exciting.
Right, well, what are some of the unexpected challenges of filming underwater?
Uh, to be honest, the trickiest, because everything and anything that you see that plays out inside the wreck of the USS Charlotte, this is shot in a tank on a soundstage in Belgium. So this is quite a controlled environment. And for that part of the shoot, we were able to recycle a lot of the mechanics from the previous underwater movie I made, because I was able to bring a few key collaborators, first and foremost, underwater DOP Eric Börjesson, to come and shoot this one as well. So we had already in some way invented the wheel, and we had cracked the code of how to work in that type of environment. So for all the difficulties and challenges with the set build and the darkness and all of that, I think we all felt that we had that section of the shoot pretty much in our hands. But then when we did all the open ocean stuff outside the coast of Malta, this is much more of a crapshoot, because you are subject to wind, weather, currents, and many times trying to stage a scene in the open ocean, in the live open ocean, is like trying to set up a scene inside of a washing machine going at full speed, because everything, the current is pulling everybody, left, right, up, down, and these sort of, it's very, very confusing. So for me, the hardest part of the shoot was actually doing all of the open ocean water stuff in Malta. But then I think for the actors, they probably have a little bit of a different perspective on the shoot in Belgium, because they were doing basically all of their own diving. There is very, very little use of stunt doubles throughout this movie. I think in the finished film, there's only 3 shots where we used stunt doubles for any of the cast members. So they were doing a lot of their own diving. And I remember that when we were in the casting process to find our cast, I would start every casting session basically by giving the actors a 20-minute speech on all the reasons why they shouldn't do this movie, about how hard it would be, how cold it would be, how tired they would be. But of course, actors, they never sort of, it's very rare that they shy away from challenges like this. So of course they went along with it, but I do think that I don't think they would say that I was lying when I said that it would be a hard shoot for them.
Right, right. And one of the things that I love about the movie is the cinematography. It looks fantastic.
Yes, and I think that Eric, the cinematographer, was really a key collaborator here, and I think one of the reasons that the movie looks the way it looks is because he and I had worked on this underwater film previously, just a few years ago. So I think based on the fact that we had the trust between each other, I think we dared to do some stuff that we may not have dared to do otherwise. I always knew that I wanted to keep the interior of the USS Charlotte very, very dark. Obviously, we're still making a movie, so it can't just be blackness, but I wanted to keep it very, very dark. And that's a little bit of a scary process, scary decision for the cinematography team. But me and Eric, we had gone already sort of 80% in that direction on the previous movie. And because of this trust between the two of us, we dared to push it even further.
I think choosing to go with just flashlights and the lights from their mask was a great choice.
Thank you, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. I think if I had had a new cinematographer that I hadn't worked on before, we may have ended up cheating in more light than we did. I mean, we do add a little bit of light, but it's more or less invisible. But just this fact that me and Eric had worked before allowed us to take those risks.
Well, it worked out definitely. And I have to say, the effects were great. And there's one scene in particular that really impressed me. And that's when one of the actors or one of the characters gets cut on the leg.
Yeah.
It looked so real.
Yeah. I know exactly the scene you're talking about, and to be honest, this was one of the scenes also that really made me want to do the movie, because before I said that I was kind of hooked already when the producers pitched me just on the concept, the setting of these five characters trapped inside with a shark. But then when I read the script, I saw this potential for this great scene with this small, spoiler alert, underwater surgery being performed. And this is not something I've seen in a movie before. I mean, we have 100 whatever years of movies behind us, but underwater surgery I haven't seen before. So it was a very nice challenge to have something that was, hopefully something that was actually new, and to make that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I've ever seen that before. And special effects, it looks so real. I mean, it really impressed me. And how did they do that scene? And was it CGI or
No, all of that. Well, the leg, the wound, and all of this is SFX prosthetics, obviously, and a fair amount of the blood that is present in the water and in the scene is also practical SFX blood. But then it's slightly augmented in post with with the VFX blood, not really to sort of increase the amount, but just to sort of keep consistency between shots, because when you're doing it practically in the water, you have 10-15 seconds, and then whatever blood you put in the water starts to go away. So the VFX blood that is added throughout the movie is really only about sort of keeping consistency rather than sort of creating it from scratch.
Right. Okay. Well, that's wonderful. And it seems like there's so much about the movie that makes you kind of want to hold your breath. And there's so many scenes where these characters that we've to know are in serious danger. Was there danger on the set?
No, I don't want to say there was danger on the set. When you're shooting underwater under sort of conditions like this, safety and security is at the top of everybody's checklists day in, day out. And the way we did the shoot, especially when we were shooting in the tank in Belgium, inside the set of the USS Charlotte, each dive and each dive may only contain, filming wise, may only contain like one, maybe two, possibly three camera setups, and then you would come to the surface again. But before each dive that we would make, we would have two briefings. One would be the creative briefing, the blocking of the scene, and then there would always be, ahead of each and every dive, a specific safety briefing. So it was my job, obviously, to block out where does the camera go, where does the actors go, how does the scene play out. And then the dive supervisor, who is ultimately the safety person on set, would basically do the same, but by blocking out all the safety divers and which safety diver would be responsible for which actor, and if the actors would move in such a way that maybe they would sort of cross each other, there would be a predetermined point where the safety diver would hand over one actor to the other diver. So I don't want to say there was any danger because it was so well handled and well planned out, and safety was always at the top of everybody's mind.
Right, great. Um, this was Julian Sand's last role, was it not?
Yes, it was. And it was only about 2 months after we had finished filming in Malta that we got the news of his disappearance. And I think the way we had gotten to know Julian throughout the shoot was that he was he was a rugged man of the mountains. He was a very experienced mountain man, and he was quite stubborn in a good sense. And I and everybody from the production, for the first few days, I think we all, held out hope, and we could just sort of picture in our mind how Julian would walk out of that mountain range after a few days, possibly beat up, but with a big grin on his face. But as the days and the weeks went on, I guess we all had to resign to the fact that he wouldn't be returning to us. And I'm smiling, but I'm also sad. But I choose to take away all the good memories from working with Julian. And I think, let's be honest, this is not a film that will define Julian's career in any way, other than it being his last. But he was so happy to be a part of this ensemble, this together with this cast of 5 young up-and-coming actors. And he was so generous on set with them. I remember particularly one scene, it was kind of a long scene to shoot. It was probably a good 6, 7, maybe even 8 minutes to get through it on the day. And Julian had just a single line, just one little line. He had a quick walk on, he had one line, and then he would walk off again, and then the rest of the scene would play out. And it would have been a perfectly normal request for any actor to come to me and say, hey, this little walk on my one line, maybe we can, knock that out separately and then he or she would be off for the day. But Julian didn't want that. He was there hour upon hour upon hour, take after take after take, and most of the takes he wasn't even on camera, but he still wanted to be there for the other cast members to just be a part of the ensemble and the entire experience. And from this, I think I took away that I believe, and I don't want to make myself out as a close personal friend of Julian's to know him, you know, on a super personal level, but from our experience working with him, I took away a feeling that he lived his life according to an idea that whatever is in front of you, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing 100%. He never held back and he was never precious. He did it 100%.
I'm glad that he had a good character for his final role because he's
Yes,
an
and I think
icon.
he, yeah, and I do think that he found two connection points with the character of Levi to his uh, you know, to his personal life. One that he really created himself, because he came to me very early in the process and said, "Hey, Joachim, I think I would like to play this guy with a Yorkshire accent." And this is where he's from. And apparently he had never acted in his native Yorkshire accent. So this is the first time in his career, as I understand it, that he actually did do his native tongue. He put a little bit of a spin on it because this character has been living abroad for many years, but essentially he is, for the first time in his career, acting in his Yorkshire accent. And then the second connection point is this that we talked about a little bit before. Levi, the character of Levi, is this sort of grizzled, weathered man of the ocean. And in real life, Julian was this grizzled, weathered man of the mountains. And I think he saw the connection between those two elements. And that's how he connected quite well with that character of Levi.
Well, he did great in it, and like I said, the entire cast did good, and I really enjoyed it because I'm a sucker for anything shark related anyway.
There you go.
So, and I love things like, history and sunken ships, and I think it's a good story. And,
Thank you.
we need more realistic shark movies that aren't, some cheap, crazy thing, something that could really happen. And I think that's what we get with The Last Breath.
I
And
think
that's,
that's I think the tone of it, we went for something that is, you know, less over the top than maybe some other movies in this very nice and but very crazy subgenre of horror movies. So definitely, yes, we did go for a little bit more of a realistic tone, and then obviously it's still a shark movie, so we take some creative license. But yeah, thank you.
it's good. And, like I said, I hadn't seen anything like this before, which is rare for me because I've seen everything.
All
And,
right.
so it's something new. And that's very important to me. And that I love that it was realistic. And the special effects were good. The story was good. Um, Usually I'm one of those people that will fuss about a movie being dark, but I think, the way that it was lit was absolutely perfect for
Cool. Thank you. That makes me happy.
it. And, I have to ask you, since you've, done several aquatic thrillers now, can we expect another one anytime soon?
Uh, Possibly. There is one project that I've been approached about, so it's still in the early stages, but it's not impossible that there will be another water movie in my somewhat near future. We'll see.
Well, I definitely think you're, the man for the job when it comes to that. So yeah,
Thank you so much.
they're great. And so what do you hope people take away from The Last Breath?
What I will take away, I guess I will, from a movie making standpoint, I will take away just this, if you've done one underwater movie, you've learned a lot. If you've done two, you've sort of cemented stuff. So I do think that I have sort of cemented for myself a specific skill. Then I hope I won't be making underwater movies forever. But it's very nice to really be able to have sort of a niche thing in my back pocket. Then hopefully I will expand to other things as well. But that is really nice to sort of feel that I have this command, if you will, of just the process of shooting in and around water. But on a personal level, it's what I said before. It's this experience of working together with Julian and seeing how he took this, fun little shark movie on as if it was his first and biggest role, even though, he has such a long and distinguished career. But that flame that was burning in him, and this idea of, whatever is in front of you, if it's worth doing 100%. I think that's the big thing that I will take away from making this movie.
That's fantastic. And I can't wait to see what you do next. Hopefully, like I said, I'm a sucker for a shark movie anyway.
All
So,
right.
maybe we'll see it again. But
We'll
I
see.
appreciate
We'll see. It's not impossible.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. And I look forward to talking with everybody about your movie.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.